All right. Welcome everyone. Look at a few of you are outside. There's some people on walks in their car, in their houses. But this is Melanie. There she is. I'm super excited to introduce, honestly, one of my favorite human beings, my own life coach who's helped me through some challenging times, one of them being my entire pregnancy with Kinley. Not more mentally challenging than anything, but Melanie is a very amazing I don't know, I wouldn't even call you just a life coach, business coach, life coach, relationship coach, like just an amazing person that will bring some much needed perspective right now to all of us. She works with a lot of professionals, dentists, couples, everything. Melanie is, I don't even need to introduce her. There is, you're about to be covered in magic, my friends, from the one and only Melanie Clark. And how we're going to do this is I'll turn it over. Melanie's just going to kind of start her talk, and we want to keep this casual, very befitting. So if you guys have questions or anything on your mind, go ahead and chat in the chat box, and then I'll go ahead and bring that up to Melanie, and then we'll just kind of open up the conversation. If anyone wants to take themselves off mute to ask something, I'll give everyone kind of that right as well. But we want to just keep this an open dialogue, and Melanie really feeds off of energy and all of us. So the more we can give, the more she's going to be able to give us. But I just thought right now, man, emotions are just all over, and to have Melanie's amazing perspective and energy in our houses and lives right now is something I'm just so excited to share with this team. So I will turn it over to Melanie. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, and then we will record this. I will put all her contact information if anyone would like to work with her. She does virtual coaching as well. Literally amazing. This I cannot tell you what Melanie's done for my life. So I'm so happy to share her, and I'm so happy she's here right now with us. So all right, you're on, my friend.
Okie dokie. Well, Rochelle, thank you so much for having me today. You're already making me want to cry listening to all the love you have for me, because I have the same love for you. And that's how I coach. I coach from my heart. I coach with love. So I'm really honored to be here to help your people, my people, all people through this crisis. It's really interesting. The first day that we got quarantined, I started getting calls to do webinars. I think I've been doing webinars since this whole thing started. So I'm grateful for that. That just says that the work that I'm doing in the world is really helpful to people, and they're reaching out to me to spread love. So one of the things that, and I'm emotional, guys, so you're going to see me, I'm already crying. I'll probably cry through the whole thing, because I just really allow my spirit to come through, my emotions to come through, because that's really where our power is. So one of the first things that came to me when this started was that we as human beings are grieving right now. And I recognize that grief because probably I'd say the last 6 years I've been grieving. And I had a loss. I lost 2 nephews that were pretty young, and on my side of the family and my husband's side of the family. So I've been working with my family in grieving. I've been grieving myself, and I recognize the stages of grief. And when this happened, what I realized was that we all are hardwired to see our reality a certain way. We're very habitual. We do things in patterns. We like continuity. Our brains work in a way that we like to know what's going to happen. And when this crisis happened and we all went into quarantine, we have no idea what's going to happen. Hold on one second. Tony, can you grab me tissue, please? Sorry, asking my daughter to help me out. I should have known and had my tissue ready. So what happens is there's a part of our brain that literally is like a thermostat. This is who we are. This is our reality. This is the way things work. And if that gets ripped away from us too quickly, it makes us feel crazy. It makes us feel sad. It makes us feel all of these emotions. So we have all been catapulted into grieving. And what we're grieving is the loss of our lives the way that we used to know them. So there are some stages in grief, and I want to talk about those a little bit. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips on what you can do to help manage that. So the 5 stages of grieving are denial. We saw that, right? We saw a lot of people say, oh, this isn't real. It's just the flu. It's not happening. And that's just because we can't handle it. We don't want to believe that this could happen to us. This is the stuff we see in movies, you guys. This isn't our lives, right? We're just living our lives, raising our babies, working out, eating healthy. We're doing the right things. Why is this happening to us? And then the second stage of grief, and they're not in order, they don't necessarily go in order, we could feel them completely out of order, is anger. We get really angry when things don't go the way we want them to go. And really, it's really frustrating. I need to live my life and it's not working out the way that I want it to work out. And then the third stage is bargaining. Well, maybe if we do this, this will happen. Well, maybe if we just stay in for a week, it'll go away and we can get back to life. Like we all wanted that, right? That first 2-week quarantine, like, okay, I'll just do it for 2 weeks and then I'll get right back to my life. Well, that didn't work. So even more emotion is going to come up. And then number 4 is a lot of people are experiencing depression. And I'm telling you guys these stages because I want you to recognize it and I want you to be okay with it, because the final stage is acceptance. And that's where we're going to get into our real power, is when we accept it. So if you feel a little depressed, if you feel angry, or you feel like you don't want to accept this, that's okay. You have to be with that. You have to allow that to happen. The first 2 weeks that of the quarantine for me, I was busy. Like I said, I got asked to be on a bunch of webinars. I do a lot of coaching and consulting. I was helping people. Helping people helps us, right? So helping people really helped me. And then the weekend came and I felt really angry. And then I felt depressed and I didn't want to talk to my family. I wanted to get away from them. I wanted to be alone because I was processing. So I spent some time in my car to get some alone time. And then finally, I just had to be honest and say, I just need to be by myself for a little bit. And I locked myself in my bedroom and I binge watched TV for the weekend and let myself just mourn. Because we did lose something. We lost life the way we knew it. We lost a reality without COVID-19. And we can never go back to not knowing what it's like to have COVID-19 be part of our life. And the outcomes of it, that'll never go away. We have that now. So we have to process it. So, sorry, you guys. So accepting it is so important. It's a big part of grieving. And when we grieve, once we get to acceptance, we start to feel a little bit better. But you're going to still feel some fear and some anxiety. That's literally your brain sends chemicals through your body. It makes you feel that because something is changing and we're learning how to manage the change. So what do? We really have to push ourselves to consciously focus on hope. And I'm going to help you guys with that today. Also, we want to use our time wisely. We want to create a new reality. And this is where we have some power. And this is where we can move ourselves to more of the positive emotions that we want to have. And then also, and you guys are doing this with Rochelle, you can create a new you. You have the time now to create a complete new you, but you have to decide what that is and what you want that to be. So like I said, our reality has changed and most of us are experiencing some type of fear. So let's talk about fear a little bit. Fear happens because we don't know what's next. So the fear comes up so that we'll be on alert, right? And this is literally a part of our brain called the amygdala, which makes us feel fear, doubt, and anxiety whenever something is out of order for us. This is how we keep ourselves safe and sane. But right now, we don't feel safe, which makes us not feel sane. So here's the thing with fear. We've all experienced fear. One of the ways to manage fear is to look at it. You have to just look at it and you have to be honest about it. And you have to say, yes, I'm afraid. I'm in Long Beach, California, and last night we had a couple of earthquakes back to back. And I'm really afraid of earthquakes. I do not like them. It makes me get butterflies in my stomach. And I was sitting here trying to ignore it and act like I wasn't afraid. And finally, I just had to say, can we turn the TV off for a second? This is really scaring me. I feel afraid right now. And as soon as I faced it and talked about it, I felt better. And it was great because my 21-year-old daughter calmed me down. She coached me. She was like, Mom, earthquakes have been happening forever. It's going to be okay. It's going to pass. But just being able to be vulnerable, this is a very vulnerable time, you guys. And we have to be able to be vulnerable with the people that we love. There's power in that. And we have to admit that we're afraid. So if you have a partner or a friend or whoever it is, talk about your real feelings. Don't try to just suppress them and act like, oh, this is okay, everything's okay. I am known as one of the most positive people on the planet, probably, because I have a positive perspective for everything. And I'm going to give you guys a positive perspective on this. But I also know that part of getting to positivity is facing your fears and talking about them and then letting them go, because they are real. This is a scary time. I won't lie to you and say, oh, it's just, you know, I'm not going to be Pollyanna for you and like, oh, it's great. It's a hard thing that we're going through. And I do want to say this, a lot of transformation comes from crisis. You know, I told you in the beginning when I started that I've been grieving for, literally I've been grieving for about 4 years. And I've grown so much in that grief because I've learned so much about myself. And I've had to really go within myself and seek comfort from my spirit and connect with that deeper part of myself, the more divine part of myself. And we all have that. And it tends to come out when there's a crisis. And right now we're in a crisis. So that is your opportunity. It's an opportunity to really connect with the deeper part of yourself. So your opportunity is to have that connection and then to ask yourself, who do I want to be next? How do I want my life to be on the other side of this? And it's really fertile ground for creation. And I'm going to tell you why. Normally, we are very regimented, right? We get up, we usually do the exact same thing in the mornings, and we go to work the same way, we have the same thoughts, and we're on this loop of reality. When that gets ripped away, we have the opportunity to create new habits, new ways of doing things. And it's really hard when we're in our patterns because our patterns and our environment pull us back into the same thing over and over again. Well, that's gone now. So I want to really encourage all of you, think about this. How many times have you said to yourself, I don't have time for that? I don't have time for that. Oh, I wish I could write a book, but I don't have time for that. Oh, I wish I could paint, but I don't have time for that. I've got to go to work, do this, I've got to do that. And we put our soul's desire, we put off our passion, we put off our purpose because we're in our patterns and we're in our loop of current reality. Well, right now, that has all gone away. So this is the time to really plant some new seeds and to use this time wisely and to get really, really clear on who you want to be. So one of the ways that we create new reality is we create a vision for ourselves, right? Like, who do I want to be? What do I look like? What does my life look like? This is a great time to do that. And then ask yourself, what habits do I need to have to become that new me? That's really where the opportunity is. Now, how do you do that? How do you get started with that? I know a lot of you have your kids at home. You still have a lot of distractions. Some of you are still working. But here's the thing. You can take time to make a list. And make a list of all the things that you said you never had time for. And there's probably a lot of them. I had a really long list. And some of them were simple things. Like I used to just listen to books on audio. I love reading, but I never really had time to sit outside and just read a book. I do now. And I've been making a point to do that because I have time to do that. So once you make a list of all the things that you never used to have time for, create a schedule and schedule them into your day. So I am now reading at about noon, not today because I'm with you guys, So every day about noon, I'm sitting out on my balcony with my book and my crystals. I'm kind of a hippie chick. You know, I'm sitting out there with my smoothie and my book, and I'm really enjoying these moments of my life because they're very quiet moments right now. I don't have to be somewhere. I don't have to go. I don't have to hurry. So I'm really taking the opportunity to enjoy that quiet and feed my soul. And I really want to encourage you guys to take the time to feed your soul too. Now, those of you that have your kids at home, I saw that a lot of you have your children on with Rochelle and you guys are exercising. I think that is so amazing because your children have the same opportunity and you want to involve your family in this. Listen to them. What are some of the things they always wanted to do? You know, I coach all kinds of people. And one time I was coaching this teenage kid in New York. And the father was going to get remarried and he was worried about his 15-year-old son liking his new fiance. So he wanted us to coach with him. My husband coaches with me sometimes. And we were coaching with this kid. And I asked him, I said, tell me one of the best times you've ever had with your dad. Because he was saying, like, since his dad got engaged, he wasn't spending as much time with him. I said, you know, what are some of the things you want to do with your dad? Tell me the best time you ever had with your dad. And you guys, this broke my heart. Like, it made me happy, but it broke my heart. He said, when my dad sits with me on the couch, one time I laid my head on his lap and we just watched SpongeBob and he rubbed my hair. How amazing is that? Like, we don't realize the small little things that our babies need from us, right? Sometimes they just need us to listen. So when you're creating your list, get with your kids and ask them, what are some things that you've wanted to do while we're home? What would you like to do? We get really busy, like trying to get it all done, and we're telling our kids what to do instead of asking them what they want. And so in our family, as soon as we went on quarantine, my daughter was like, I want to play games. I've got all these games. You guys want to play games? So we started playing Uno because she wants to play Uno. And we've been having a lot of fun with that. And it's involving the whole family. We've started working out together. We're all going outside at the same time and getting our workout in together. And that feels really good because we're all in this together. So we've created a schedule for our family and everyone has things that they want to do. My daughter wanted to do some craft type stuff. So she ordered some things on Amazon and she's been making crafts. I've been reading and writing. My husband and I wanted to start a podcast. We're starting the podcast. So my point is, you have some things inside of you that you want and that you haven't allowed yourself to have. And those things are your soul expressing itself. Please gift yourself that during this time. This is the perfect time to do that. Personal care. Ladies, we are so busy taking care of everyone else. We don't always take care of us, do we? Honey, I've been taking bubble baths, putting lotion. I've got some lipstick on today. Personal care. This is our time. Take time to take care of yourself. This is good for your immune system. It's good for your well-being, for your emotions. It's good for your tolerance to take care of the people you need to take care of. Personal care is everything right now. And then learn something new. I have been listening to so many webinars and YouTube is my friend right now because I love learning. So I've just been learning as much as I can. I'm a coach. I always want to bring new perspectives to people. So learning is a huge part of what I do. And it also helps you to feel good when you're learning something. You feel like you're moving forward, something's happening. And that helps you when you're grieving. When I first lost my nephews, I read every book I could on spirituality, life after death, because I wanted to learn something to keep my mind occupied so I didn't dive into just sadness and depression. And that really helped me. So even when you're upset or scared or whatever it is, learn something new that really does help you. And then the other thing is, and we see this everywhere right now, you guys, connect with love. Think about love a lot. Love is very powerful. And if you notice, whenever there's a crisis, do you notice how much people love more? We want to take care of each other. This pandemic is helping us to see how connected we actually are. You know, energetically, in quantum physics, when they look at what we are as human beings, we're light energy that's vibrating. And that vibration is our energy, and the light is, we're spirit. And our spirits are all connected to each other. And we forget that. We forget who we really are. We come from love. Our core is love. And when we focus on that, then we become our best selves. And these types of crises bring that out in us. We remember it about each other. That instinct to separate and look out for ourselves goes away. In the beginning, everybody freaked out and wanted to look out for hence the toilet paper buying, right? That makes us feel normal. Like, if I have toilet paper, I feel normal. But once we got into a little bit more acceptance, then we wanted to look out for each other. Then we wanted to give toilet paper, right? Like, I want to give my neighbor some toilet paper. That's focusing on the love. We want to focus on the love. And it literally comes from within you. If you get scared or you get anxious, you can literally just say the word love to yourself over and over and over again, and it with you. Tell children a lot that you love them. They're watching us. They're watching how we're into this. This is history happening. This is when they grow up, they're going to say, I lived through this pandemic and I was quarantined. Like, most of us did not have that experience in our lifetime as kids. This is impacting them. Give them lots of love. And then next, work on your spiritual growth. I cannot express enough to you guys how powerful we all really are. And it comes from our connection to our spirit. And we all had that connection when we were kids. My husband and I were talking yesterday. We were practicing our little podcast. See, we're doing our list. And we're focusing it on spirituality. So the first one was on what is spirit. And it was really interesting because we both told the same story of how when we were about 4 years old, we recognized that our body seemed separate from what we really were. Like, I remember being on this bunk bed. I grew up in foster care, and I was on a top bunk, and there was a window, and I was looking out the window at the stars, and I just had this sense that I come from the stars. Like, I am the stars. And then I remember looking at my hands thinking, like, what is this? What is this? Why do I have this on me? And I was looking at my hands like, I'm encased in this body, but this is not what I am. This is not who I am. And when my husband was telling his story, it was the same thing for him. And I remember being a little kid and having this inner voice that protected me and told me to move towards things and move away from things. And that was dangerous, and when to hide and when to be quiet. And I had a very strong connection to that voice. But as I got older and I went to school and I got in trouble and I was told no, and I was bad and I was wrong, I lost that connection. And then in my 20s, as I went through a trauma, a divorce, my mid-20s, I found that connection again. And that's what made me become a coach. I started doing my spiritual work. I started meditating. I started reading books on spirituality. I started talking to my spirit. It's a relationship. And you reconnect that relationship just by asking for it. Spirit, show me the way. Spirit, help me deal with this. Spirit, reveal yourself to me. And we all have that ability. And this is a great time to rebuild that connection in you. And also see it in your children, because your children have it already. They already have it. It's there. That's why they're so carefree and playful. And they're not worried about the things that we're worried about, because they're still really connected. And think about this. Babies. Oh, we love the babies, don't we? Because they're pure spirit. They don't have any programming. They don't have any self-talk telling them they're not enough. They are just pure light, pure love. And so that's our origin. That's who we are. And so going back to that makes us powerful. So I really want to encourage you all to rebuild that connection. So here's a few things that you want to ask yourself coming out of this pandemic. This is your personal pandemic plan, you guys. Who do you want to be after this? What kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to express yourself? How do you want your life to improve? Your life could really improve from this. I know it's hard, but this is fertile ground, like I said, to reinvent yourself. And then next, how can you use your passion to help others? Oh, that's the opportunity. That's the spiritual opportunity right there. How can you help others? Because what we put out is what we get back. If we put out love, we get love back. And so we all have these gifts, but our gifts are to help others. And so how can you do that? I noticed right away that Rochelle opened up her business at no charge for people so that they had some way to move their bodies and they could help their kids move their bodies. I wept when I saw that because I know her and I know it's her passion and I know she lives it. And she immediately said, here you go. Here you go. That makes me proud to be her coach. Good job, Mamacita. I'm proud of you. How do you benefit from this free time? How can you benefit from it? You guys, this is the first time ever the government said, I'm gonna give you money so you can stay home. Stay home and I'll give you money to pay your bills. First time ever, you don't have to worry about your credit score. First time ever. Take advantage of that. All of the little fear things that were in place to keep people on the treadmill of life have been removed. I think we should really take advantage of that, right? It's really, really a time for us to build up ourselves and our children, and that becomes our society. That becomes our society. That's what it's all about. Because we are reinventing our world. The entire world is being reinvented right now. And each and every one of us is part of that. And each and every one of us has our part to do. Does that make sense? So now that you've made your list, you're going to focus on it. It's really about practicing your focus and not going back to the old ways of doing things. And you want it to be the way that it was before because that's comfortable, but it's not going to be the way that it was before. There's no way that we can go back to being what we were before because you can't be less. Okay, so that's your personal plan. Now, some of you have work and, you know, we as women right now, we love our work, don't we? We are so grateful for our work. And I think one of the reasons we're so passionate about it, I'm passionate about my work. I'm a mom, I have 3 kids. My kids are all grown up, but I'm very passionate about my work. And I think I'm so passionate about my work because I know it's a blessing. I know that our generation gets to work and be business owners and do things that other women didn't get to do in the past. So we're carrying that torch and we're very passionate about that torch. So I also do business coaching. So I want to talk a little bit about your professional plan. So if you have a business, I really recommend that you go revisit your mission. Whatever your business mission was, this is a great time to rewrite your mission, decide if it's still who you are, decide if it's who you want to be next in the world, how will your brand express itself? And every great business starts with a mission. or some core values. You have to decide what the energy of your business is. My business mission is to bring love to everything. So in business, I bring love to business. In my coaching, I bring love to every aspect of life. I'm all about the love, right? So once you revisit your mission, get clear on how you want your brand to express itself, and then look at your systems. Do your systems match your mission? And then you want to look at, do you have the right team members? Are you loving on your team? Are they expressing their gifts? Get with your team members on a video conference and ask them how they're doing. Stay connected to them, super important. And see what gifts they have that they haven't been expressing. Does that make sense? And then if there's anything that you're going to change, write the action steps and get your team involved in those action steps and get the party started before you reignite your business. So you have to know what your goals are, how you want your brand to be expressed, if it's going to be expressed differently, and how you'll improve your customer's experience. So part of my coaching, one of the reasons I want to do a podcast is I believe whenever we want change, we have to bombard our system with information that matches who we want to be. And by doing a podcast, I can help my clients and the world, whoever wants to listen, bombard their system with information about spirituality. I would love to see the world be more spiritual and operate from heart space instead of head space. So the things that I'm doing now are to help me to get to my mission. And they're new habits for me. I'm not used to doing a podcast. I'm used to running around, showing up for everybody and coaching everybody and doing team meetings and being in businesses. I'm not used to sitting in front of a microphone. So I'm making myself learn to do that. I watched myself avoid it for 3 days. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'll get to it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm going to cook first. No. Okay. First I'm going to do the dishes. And that's what happens when you want to do something new. You tend to want to avoid it because it's not comfortable. And so I did one yesterday, but that's one of the things, an action step that I have to take and push myself to take so that I can do better in my business and help more people, which is my goal. That's how my business will be better than before. And decide that for yourself. How do I want my business to be better than before? Do I want more revenue? Do I want to serve more people? Do I want to work less hours? It's unlimited right now. You can create whatever you want for yourself. And then going back to business after this, those of us that are not working online, how are we going to address COVID in our business? People are going to be nervous about touching each other and being close to each other. That is going to affect us. So how will our physical businesses adapt to that reality? What can we do? What can we implement to make our customers feel better? I do team meetings, and you guys, I go into groups of people and I hug and kiss every single person. What am I going to do? I can't do that anymore. I've been air hugging, like I'll probably air hug, but I'll have to adapt. And I've been thinking about that. It's going to be different for me because I love people and I hug everybody. So I'm going to have to just use my words. I've been thinking about that. I'll use more words. I'll use more eye contact. I will say straight up, I love you and I'm happy to see you, instead of the hug. I'm going to have to adapt my business model to that. So I wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of us are business owners. And I want you to know that even though we're quarantined, what it is that you do, whether it's being a stay-at-home mom, a business owner, a wife, a friend, you're essential and your energy is essential. And you're needed in the world. You're bringing something very unique. And so when you get scared and when you get nervous and when you are going through the stages of grief, I want you to just really recognize that you're growing. The world is growing. It's changing. It's falling apart so that it could be rebuilt. We're going to come out of this on the other side better than we've ever been. I know Rochelle told you that I work with dentists. And one of the reasons that I work with dentists is I was a dental assistant right out of high school. I was a teen mom, and I became a dental assistant to support my child. And I have a background in dentistry, about 30 years in dentistry. So I consult for some of the top dentists in Beverly Hills, and I go to their offices, and I love dentistry. But I was in dentistry when the AIDS virus showed up. And when I was working with patients, it's gonna sound weird, you guys. I was working with patients, taking x-rays and doing all those things. I didn't wear gloves, bare hands. We washed our hands, we dried them, and we stuck our hands in your mouth. And that was normal. And then the AIDS virus showed up and everything changed. We got PPE. You've been hearing that a lot, right? So personal protective equipment. That was because of the AIDS virus. That's where personal protective equipment came from. OSHA, protecting workers, became really powerful after the AIDS virus. We became more aware. And so as we become more aware because of challenges and because of crisis. And we're going to have some great things come out of this. And we're already seeing more love. So I want you guys to really focus on yourself, because you're going to create greatness out of it too. The world is going to change, but I believe it's going to change for the better. So Rochelle, I see a question. What's the question?
The question is, this is from Linda, amazing Linda. So she works for a big company. She was asking, how do we influence change when we work for a big company whose brand may not be love?
Okay. So here's the thing. Oh, this is great. So Linda, you've heard be the change you want to see in the world. You can show up as love individually. It doesn't matter what your company's doing, because your energy is powerful and they're not controlling your energy. So you can show up as love for yourself, for your coworkers, for your customers in your own way. And I started smiling. I thought that was so cute, because Rochelle, like a month ago, sent me a book called Coffee Bean. And she just randomly texted me. Nothing's random, you guys. She just randomly texted me and asked me for my address, because she said she wanted to send me something. So she sent me this book called The Coffee Bean. Great book. Rochelle, I did so many team meetings on this book. Thank you so much. So the book is basically about a coach talking to a kid that's stressing out and overwhelmed by school and prospects of college and playing basketball. And he says to him, I'm paraphrasing the book, you guys. Life is like a pot of boiling water. The stresses of the boiling water. And you can either be a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean. And if you put a carrot in water, it gets boiling water, it gets soft. If you put an egg in boiling water, it gets hard. But if you put a coffee bean in boiling water, it turns the water to coffee. So Linda, you have to be the coffee bean at work. Your energy will affect the energy around you. I promise you that. And that is one of the things that I'm talking about when it comes to spiritual growth. Show up as a spirit. Get all of the thoughts and the beliefs and the control out of the way, and just say, I want to show up as love. I'm going to show up with my best energy, and I'm going to shift this environment because I am that powerful. I walk into dental offices where there's a lot of cranky people, because there's a lot of fear in dental offices. And my team members will tell me, like, you walk into the room and everything changes. And why does that happen? Because I know how to manage my energy. I know how to make my energy affect other people's energy. And Linda, this is your time to do that. I can tell because you asked that question. That's your heart's desire.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. You're very welcome.
And
my pleasure.
I mean, like you said, nothing happens by chance. And we were talking about that the other day, how I went to retreat, what was it, in February, like, what was that, 20 years ago? No, about a month and a half ago before all of this. And I heard the author of The Coffee Bean, and I ordered a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of copies of the book. And you were the first one that I was like, I got to give this book to Melanie. Like, Melanie is the coffee bean. Like, and full circle how now you're here being able to infuse your coffee bean to my team, who hears the story all the time, and it never gets old to hear that story. My kids run around, be the coffee bean. The other day we were having a really,
Love it.
I was having a bad day. I was not being a coffee bean. I was being an egg and a carrot. And my daughter said, Mom, you read coffee bean, and she wanted to read it that night. And so, yeah, man, so much of what you've said is amazing. You're getting a lot of thank yous, a lot of, does anyone else, again, don't be shy. We have a little bit more time. If
you can ask me anything.
Anything.
Yes. So, you know, Rochelle, for someone, okay, can you read that for me? I can't see the whole question.
For someone who has high anxiety, especially at this time, how do I properly explain what mommy is going through to her young children without causing them additional stress or concern?
Okay. So, you know, when it comes to anxiety is fear. And if you run from fear, it's gonna overwhelm you. And I think one of the biggest disservices we could do to our children is hide our emotion, because then they think we're perfect. And then when they grow up and life kicks their butt, they don't know how to handle it. So you can be general with them about it and help them to respect your emotions by saying, you know, sometimes mommy gets scared, just like you get scared. And right now I just need a little time to breathe and to work on how I feel. Can you give me some space? And honey, when it comes to anxiety, one of the best ways to manage anxiety is to go outside and be in nature. And if you can sit and take your shoes off and put your feet on the earth, it's called grounding. You can ground yourself because the energy of the earth is really powerful and you'll feel more connected. So it's okay to be sad or scared or upset. We're modeling behavior for our children, and you can tell them that without telling them the details of why. Mommy's just a little scared right now or a little sad, but everything's going to be okay. I'll get past it. That's the best way to handle that.
I'm so glad you asked that, Heather, because when I was working with Melanie, it was back when I was pregnant with Kinley, who now Melanie reminded me the whole time would be the biggest blessing, and she has. But that was one of my biggest lessons ever from Melanie, was to let your kids see you with emotion, because when they have that emotion in their life, which they will, they'll be able to handle it instead of being like, oh, I never saw mom cry. This is weird. Why am I crying? Like, I'm so glad you got to share that, Melanie, because that was one of the most powerful things you taught me with my children. All right.
They're learning by watching us. It's not our words. It's our example. So just show them by example how you manage it. And sometimes it's hard to manage, and they need to see that too. They're going to go through that.
Okay, here's a good, I'm going out of order. I'm going to ask a couple more, but I think this is a good one because I know a few people in here.
Okay.
So how do I balance relief that I live alone and don't have to control anyone besides myself? So kind of the grief, loneliness of being alone and all of this.
Okay. So, you know, I've been thinking about that a lot because I do coach so many different types of people. I have a whole client list of single women that I've coached that are wanting to attract husbands, because I'm a law of attraction coach as well. So I help my clients attract husbands and babies and all kinds of stuff. So I have some single women that are going through this. And here's the thing. One of the things that you have the opportunity to do when you're alone is to really get like a quantum leap in your spiritual growth. And I believe that your spirit has you on your own because there's messages for you. So start talking to your spirit. Like, what do you want to tell me? What do you have to reveal to me? And as you do this work for yourself, you're shifting your energy. And if you want a partner and you want love and you want all of those things, this is your time to get your energy in alignment with that. So look at other people that have families as a blessing, and then also have gratitude for where you're at. You have peace and quiet. You don't have to worry about the kids driving you crazy. we always want what we don't have, right? So the people that have their kids and can't get a moment's of peace are looking at the single people like, oh my gosh, you have so much peace and quiet. And then people with peace and quiet are looking at the people with families like, I want that because I don't want to feel lonely. But I'm going to tell you something, honey. You have a spirit. You are never alone. Build your relationship with your spirit and stay connected with people. Get on video chat like you are now. I have gone to a virtual 50-year-old party with a group of people on Zoom. There's an app called House Party where my niece did a birthday party. I'm doing FaceTime with my adult son in San Francisco. Reach out to the people that you love. Make yourself vulnerable because vulnerability creates connection. And if you feel lonely, reach out to someone and say, I'm struggling and I feel lonely. Can you hop on a video chat with me? That is the lesson. If you are lonely, you have to be vulnerable and say, I am lonely and I need you. That's how you build connection. So push yourself to do that because generally single people are not comfortable doing that. They've learned to be self-contained and they don't want to make themselves vulnerable. But it's so important that we're vulnerable. That's how we connect. Let people know that you're vulnerable. Okay?
Probably not going to get through all of these. Here's a couple that kind of go around this. What are some of your favorite books and podcasts on spirit? And obviously this goes a lot of different ways, you know, faith, spirit, we all have a different way that we have a relationship with, you know, things that are beyond us. So yeah, a couple of people have asked you kind of your favorite stuff about discovering spirit.
Okay, so I think one that I really have people go to right away is I love Abraham Hicks. They teach law of attraction. It's channeled information. I love meditations. I like guided meditations. There's meditations called solfeggio meditations, SOLFEGGIO, and they're just tones and sounds. Because energetically we're vibrating. We have a vibration, and the things that we want in life are on different vibrations. So learning to manage your own vibration is huge for getting what you want out of life. And solfeggio meditations have a 528, I think it's megahertz, and that's the vibration of love. Do meditations in that frequency. And you will attract the right information for yourself. So I love Abraham Hicks. I love Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer. There's some great spiritual teachers out there. There's just like too many for me to tell you guys. I actually don't listen to a lot of podcasts because I'm super busy. I like Dr. Joe Dispenza. I do more of YouTube because I'm on the run so much. But literally you can just Google spiritual books and let your spirit guide you to the information that you need that's going to speak to your soul. And that's how it happened for me. I just started asking for guidance, and then people would recommend books, send me books. And I just kind of knew where to go. One of the things about my coaching is I want to teach people how to hear their own guidance. I don't want to have people think that I'm their guide. I want to teach you how to connect with your own guidance. That makes sense.
Oops, okay. These are kind of different, but kind of the same.
Okay.
Both coming from a place of fear and the way I see it, kind of not having control. One is a question kind of about people that are truly, you know, so yeah, we're getting some money from the government, but for a lot of people, you know, the fear is it's not going to be enough. And the other one is people that work in the healthcare system right now, in the healthcare, you know, that are in the hospitals in this right now, like in the thick of it, hearing all this information and chaos. You know, how do they kind of work on this fear? And,
okay, those are both good.
Yeah,
those are both healthcare worker. So when it comes to the money, you have to recognize that money is energy. And just like everything that's energy, you can attract it. And so instead of focusing on, is it not going to be enough? Again, the things I talked about in the beginning, focusing on your purpose, your passion. You have ideas in you to make money. You know that a lot of times some of the biggest innovation comes from crisis. My consulting business started in 2008 or 2009, when they said we were having a horrible economy. I started teaching energy and spirituality. I tripled my income. Where other people were going out of business, I was starting an amazing business. So there's a lot of opportunity to do better financially, but you got to dig deep. And I promise you, this is the time to think about making money from your purpose and your passion and serving others. So interesting. I have a 36-year-old daughter, and she's quarantined, and she worked in a restaurant. She loves to cook, and she's always posting her cooking on Instagram. And now that she's home and not making money, she started cooking from her home, and people are coming and picking up food. And she's showing them how she's making it on video. She's wearing gloves and a mask, and it's her passion. And she's found a way to make money during this time. So you have something in you that can connect you with more money. And if you want that, do the spiritual work and ask your spirit to reveal what that is to you, and put your heart into it. And money comes through the heart. It comes through what we love doing. That's for her. And then healthcare. So you lovely, wonderful, beautiful souls that are working with people who are sick, one of the most important things that you have to do is keep your vibration high. And what I mean by that is your energy cannot be a match to the disease. And it's really hard when you're looking at people suffering not to get sucked into that suffering. But here's a perspective I want you to think about. One of the best ways that you could serve people is through hope. Make them feel that there's hope, because when people have hope, they fight. They fight and they get stronger, and it helps their immune system. And part of what we can do is be a mirror of that hope to them. So it's kind of goes like this. If you have a child and the child falls down and hurts themselves, and if you go, "Oh my God, are you okay? Oh, you poor thing." What is the child going to do? It's going to cry, right? It's going to go, "Oh, I'm hurt. I'm upset." But if you see a child fall down and you say, "You're okay. You're a fighter. Get back up. Let's get going. Come on, let's go play." They kind of laugh it off and they keep going. It's the same idea here with energy. If you're working with sick people, you got to mirror to them and you got to pump them up and say, "You're going to work through this. You're a fighter. You're doing good. Keep going." And then that's going to help them to get the strength to do what they need to do. And you have to do the same thing for yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror every day and say, you have what it takes to show up and be the best you. And your energy is going to affect their energy. Again, you're being the coffee bean. Be the coffee bean around these people.
I love this. Everything is always goodness from you. Okay, this will probably be about one of the last ones.
Okay.
Again, I'll record this, or I did record this. Okay, two more. But here's, okay, one, and actually this one it's a good one. This was sent to me privately, so I'm not gonna say who it's from, but okay, on the flip side, a lot of people now are, with their families more and maybe had some relationship issues going on at home, and now you're kind of stuck in the situation more together. How do you get through this with, say, a partner, someone in the house, and also not have it affect the kids? Because I did joke, I was joking, like, people are going to come out of this with more divorces and more babies. And I personally want to stay away from both of those.
Yeah. I hear you, girl.
The reality of, we're spending a lot more time with our families, and that sometimes that's what, can be challenging.
I could go really deep on this one because I'm a relationship coach. So a couple of things. First of all, it's very common to focus on someone else and want to look at their faults when you are unhappy, uncomfortable, scared, because it activates the ego. It makes your ego feel like, I'm in a better position and I'll just look at you and tell you how wrong and bad you are. But here's the thing that we dislike in other people, we generally have some of it in ourselves. So we have to ask ourselves, why is this annoying me so much? Why do I need to tell this person what they're doing? It's not going to go anywhere. People do not convert and change because you criticize them or tell them how bad they're doing. So I highly recommend that you work on not criticizing, and not trying to fix or change your partner. If they're annoying you, go do something for yourself. Go outside, take a walk, watch a movie, take a shower. I told you guys a couple weeks ago I had to shut it down and binge watch TV because I get hormonal. I know it's all women on here, so I'll just be very candid. It was my period time. And around my period time, I have such negative thoughts about my husband. Like, I could tell my hormones are raging because I'm paying attention to my thoughts. He's annoying. Why is he doing that? Right? That voice. And so I know that's what's happening. So I just isolate. And I tell him, I'm honest. I'm like, or he knows. He'll tell me, he'll say, I could tell by the look on your face that you're getting ready to start your period, because you get this mad look, like you're mean. And I'm like, I know, I could feel it. So I just acknowledge it and I self-talk. This is me. He's not doing anything. And if he is doing something, so what? He's his own human being. Why do I need to control him? Why do I get to say how he lives his life? Don't fix your husbands. Don't try to control them. This is the worst time to do that. So if you are unhappy in your relationship, the way that you fix your relationship is you work on yourself. You have no power over other people. Zero. Zippity doo dah. Again, coffee bean. Make yourself happy, then the people around you will shift into that. But the things that are bothering you about a partner, a spouse, a sister, a brother, anyone, if you're noticing it, it is your vibration. And that is the only power that you have, is to ask yourself, what in me is a match to that? Why am I attracting this? Why am I noticing it? Where can I grow? Where can I love more? And this is not easy to do, you guys. I know what I'm saying sounds like, oh, that's just a simple solution. No, that's spiritual work. That's the real work. And if you do your work and you change your energy and your partner does not get on board, eventually they'll leave and someone will better replace them. I know that maybe not what people want to hear, but our energy is attracting energy that's a match to our energy. And our partners are mirrors for us to see where we need to do our work, and we're mirrors for them. But it's not our job to do their work or to tell them to do their work. It's our job to do our own work, and that inspires them to do their work. Does that make sense?
Yes, a lot of thank yous. Truly
You're welcome.
And that is such a VFit way. Everyone I know absolutely appreciates this time.
Yes, and yes, the kids are mirrors too.
Kids are mirrors. You have taught me that well. Just
yes.
Like when we're having a bad day, it's usually our kids. We're like, God, our kids are being terrible. Well, that probably came from.
They're picking up our energy. So I know we're going to wrap it up here, and I want to share this with you guys. In our coaching, we have a saying, EIP. Everything is perfect. And when I get overwhelmed and when things look crazy, I remind myself of EIP. Because even when things are falling apart, they're coming together. Life is energy. We're energy, and energy is constantly in motion, into form and out of form, into form and out of form, up, down. We're duality, light, dark, in, out. And we're always going to have experiences that are not our favorite, but they help us to have gratitude for the things that are our favorite. We need the contrast. So have gratitude for the good things in your life, and the things that you're struggling with, go within yourself and talk to your spirit and find a way to have gratitude for those too, because they are perfect. I started this talk with, I've been grieving for 4 years because I lost my lovely nephews. I loved those boys so much. But do you know, this 4 years of grieving had made me really able to have this talk right now during this crisis, because I recognize the grief immediately. And you guys are about my 4th talk that I've done on this. So that lets me know EIP, even that experience that I had, has helped me to be here for you guys today in a much more powerful way than I would have been able to be here if I had not had that experience. Does that make sense? So remember, EIP, you guys, no matter what, EIP. And step away if you need to. Don't try to be perfect. It's okay. It's okay to take a moment for yourself. You deserve it. It's fine. All righty.
All righty. You're amazing. And I'm glad.
You're amazing. You're all amazing.
Yes.
I love you.
It's an amazing group. And everyone, so many thanks and just gratitude towards you. So this is recorded. We'll share it. I'll put up Melanie's contact if anyone wants to work further with her. Again, you know, I just was so happy to be able to share you. I mean, we've worked together in the past, and then I hired you as my coach for a long time, and then to be able to share you with so many people. I think there was up to 70 people here today. It's been beyond powerful. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, sweetheart.
All right.
And thank you for the awesome work you're doing. I appreciate you. Bye, ladies. Have a wonderful day.
All on mute, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Melanie.
Bye.
Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. You're
so
welcome.
much.
Bye. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. You're welcome.
All right. Love you, Melanie.